somehow strikes a chord with our own personal journeys and experiences. Thank you once again for honoring us with your attendance. May I now request our esteemed and eminent guests of honor, Dr. Geetam Sarma and Mrs. Vidya Sarma, to be escorted to the dais for the lighting of the lamp. I also request the author, Pratibha, to be present alongside. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Geetam Sarma is a renowned retired professor of Cotton University, erstwhile Cotton College, and is very popular and much loved by her students. She did her schooling from Loreto Convent, Shillong, and completed her college education from Loreto College, Darjeeling. She did her master's, MPhil, and PhD from Nehru, Shillong. In fact, she did her MPhil and PhD in the subject of fiction, especially the war fiction of the two world wars. American novelist Ernest Hemingway was her special focus. Post-retirement, she wallows in the restful joys of gardening. I now request Dr. Namita Saikya to welcome our honored guest with a small token of gratitude. Namita Saikya, ladies and gentlemen, is an associate professor of economics at Pragjyotish College, Guwahati, and the elder sister of Pratibha. Dr. Namita Saikya to escort them to the dais. Immense pleasure to be introducing our second guest, Mrs. Vidya Sarma. Mrs. Vidya Sarma was one of the first German faculties in Assam for the German language. A Maharashtrian by birth, she is married to respected Mr. Dilip Sharma, and together they founded and ran the famous Trade Wings Institute in Assam, which paved the path for many airline aspirants in the aviation industry from Assam during the 90s. She's also a writer and a translator. She writes on many educational themes, and some of her notable translation works are of the Rita Choudhury bestseller Maakaam. Then, Assamese historian, educator, social activist, and ex-VC is the Surya Kumar Bhuyan's book, Mahatma Gopal Krishna Gokhale. I request Dr. Namrita Sarma yet again to welcome our honored guest with a small token of gratitude and escort her to the dais. The author and tell you about her works. Pratibha Das Hattiborua, who writes under the pen name Pratibha RDH, will be launching her 7th fiction book today, Butterflies in the Storm. Previous to this, she has written 4 volumes of middle-grade fantasy, Magical Ventures of Lolly and Lenny, a suspense novelette, redemption, and a paranormal crime mystery novel, Child of Paradise, Listen to Her Dreams, which are available in Flipkart and all Amazon bookstores worldwide. Writing has been her passion, which she juggles with a career as an IT consultant in blockchain and metaverse technologies, and currently is the director at Fusionsoft Group. Previously, she was working for top MNCs such as Infosys and Toyota Kirloskar, Bengaluru. She is an ex-Patonian and has done a post-graduation in economics from Guwahati University. She also writes short stories and articles on mindful living, personal development, lifestyle and technology, which are published on her blog and various online global magazines such as Bombspresso, Thumbprint, Twist and Twain, Wings, Blasting News US, etc. She also keeps writing non-fiction articles on technology, digital marketing, and lifestyle in Assam Tribune, which is the highest circulated English daily in Northeast India. Her grandfather, a teacher and a scholar, late Mr. Nandiram Das, is one of her inspirations in writing, who published his first book, Adi Dev Katha, a book on mythology, in 1955. I would request Pratibha to speak a few words on her respected and much admired teachers, so I request her to come on the dais. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my book launch. It's great to see you all here. I know today is a busy Friday evening and a lot of you have got a lot of prior appointments, stuff to do, family commitments, a lot of the children are having exams. So I'm deeply grateful that in spite of your busy schedule, you all have taken time to come and grace the occasion. So I feel blessed. Thank you so much. Then I also want to convey my immense gratitude to my teachers, Dr. Geetam Sarma and Vidya Sarma, for giving their time to come and launch my book and sharing their pearls of wisdom with the esteemed guest. As we all know, a teacher plays a primary role in shaping a young person's mind. They play a dominant part in determining a person's life and character by imparting ideas, values, and life lessons which helps them shape which has them fit into the global stream of life and live as global citizens of the world. So, time and again, especially in our Indian culture, has stressed the importance of teachers in a society and inculcated the Guru Shishya Parampara. Yes. So, what I wanted to say is, in our Indian society, we have stressed on the role of teachers in our society, and even we respect teachers as equivalent to parents and God. In fact, our two great epics, Mahabharata and the Ramayana, emphasizes the role of teachers in our society. So what I want to, that's why today I take this opportunity to speak a few words for my teachers, for my beloved teachers, Geetam ma'am and Vidya ma'am. So, although this has been time and again said about teachers playing a primary role in society, this may sound very bookish and rhetoric, but as we grow up, we realize the importance of the contribution of certain teachers in our lives. I met Rita ma'am. She was my English teacher in Cotton College, and she took our general English class. It was during our 11th and 12th, and her class was one of the most anticipated class for all of us Cottonians. She was a charismatic teacher with full of grace and a lot of presence. The way we learned a lot just by looking at her, the way she spoke, her diction, her pronunciation, and the clarity with which she taught our lessons. She was articulate and eloquent, and it was a great pleasure attending her classes. So since I was in the science stream, we just had general English, just one class a week maybe, and that too in the late afternoon. But we'd be waiting the whole week to attend ma'am's class. And so for us Cottonian girls, she was the epitome of grace, and we used to emulate her and be mesmerized by her eloquence. If for some reason, and especially after the heavy dose of science subjects like physics, chemistry, maths, we would never miss her class, even if it's in the late afternoon, because it was really relaxing and a great pleasure to listen to her. So in fact, for all of us girls, she was our idol. You can say she was a girl crush, like the millennials and the Gen Z generation, they say girl crush. So she was a girl crush. So that's what, it was wonderful. She was a great teacher. And years later, and also I remember we used to have this, we would want to know so much about her. We used to get to hear a lot of tidbits about ma'am, and we would discuss. Somebody would come and say, ma'am loves gardening. She gardens her flowers every evening. So those kind of stories would be our campus conversation. So those were the days, and we were fascinated by ma'am and mesmerized by her, and would like to emulate her. And but years later, whenever I met her, she always connected with you and and was interested in you as a person, and that really was very satisfying, and it was very satisfying and had a feel-good effect. So 3 years back, during our Cotton College reunion, she came to our college, and while she was giving her speech at the dais, we felt nostalgic and were overcome by the same feeling of awe and her quiet charm. Because you don't get that feeling anymore as you get older. But as you get older, you become blasé, you become cynical, because you know the ways of the world. But ma'am still had that effect. And when I saw ma'am, suddenly a thought flashed in my mind. I thought it would be great if I could call ma'am for my next book launch. So as soon as I conceived the idea of this book launch, I think God spoke in my ears and I immediately called up ma'am, and she gave me her consent without hesitation. So ma'am still remains a graceful and humble human being, so difficult to find these days, especially in today's fast-paced world. So thank you ma'am for always being the inspiration, and thank you for coming today and gracing this occasion with your presence. Then Vidya ma'am, she was my German teacher. She and her better half, respected Vidya Sarma sir, they started Trade Wings Institution in the 90s, the famous Trade Wings, which paved the career for many airline aspirants in the aviation industry. So when we were growing up, we used to hear students of other states learning foreign languages, and we used to feel wishful because we never had the opportunity here. So when I heard that TradeWings was offering a course in German language, I immediately jumped at the opportunity and I enrolled for ma'am's classes. This was in my final year of. So I used to love her classes and I used to heartily do all the assignments she would give me, and all of us had a good time at her class. And whatever be the topic, she was always generous with her experience and her knowledge, and we learned a lot. And another thing is, I learned ma'am used to be interested in you as a person, gave you a lot of importance. You know, when you're young, you remember the people who make you feel important, who make you feel good. Because when you're young, your personality is very raw. You're just growing up, you're impressionable, you're awkward, and so people don't take you seriously. But you remember the people who think you are important enough and give you a lot of interest and talk to you and converse with you and so on. So ma'am gave me that sense of, immense sense of confidence, and I'm grateful to you for that. And another, because you know, when we just teach our young students only the syllabus, that doesn't help them. It's the love and the care and soft skills we teach them with love and guidance. That is what shapes up their lives. So I got that from ma'am a lot, and I really thank ma'am for that. And so it's very important how we treat our young people, how we interact with them, because that determines their perspectives in life.
Jumped my years ago. I encountered Pratibha more than 30 years ago in the high secondary class. And as we all know, the high secondary class was rowdy, unruly, and totally wild. One among many. She was one among many. I didn't really know her. She was just there. And yet, I always maintained the high secondary class in Cotton was the brightest and the best. It's only later, you know, when you go on to your graduation, when you go on to your master's, when you become jaded and tired and bored. But high secondary is the one class where you have, you know, all these eager beaver faces looking at you, hanging on to your words. And when students hang on to your words, they bring out the best in you. You have to do, you have to perform. So that is what really happened in the high secondary class. They were so eager to learn, and it is after that they went on to do their engineering, they went on to do their medical. But that class was the focus of the brightest. More than 3 decades later, I met her again, much married, mother of 2, an accomplished IT person, wearing so many hats. She was a writer also. A writer not just of one genre, but of children's fiction, of paranormal crime thriller, again, and romantic coming-of-age novel that we have here. Pratibha tells me she writes e-books. To be very honest, something I am not very familiar with, because you know, I am a CBSE
senior citizen, and I mean, of course, there are senior citizens who are very, very tech savvy, but I have not yet mastered the art of reading e-books, so it's something totally new for me. But again, I have to say that with our fading eyesight, we have to turn to them inevitably, I think, because I am told that the font can be adjusted. So this is something that I have to remember and keep in mind. To start with, it's not easy to write. It's easy to teach, it's easy to critique, but to write, to fire your imagination, to get your vision, and to put it all down in pen and paper, or in this case, the keyboard, is big. It's really big. And most importantly, I suppose, it's that space, the mind space, that you require to write. I mean, the affairs of the world intrude, and you have to have it all together in your mind to put it down in one cohesive form to present it to the reader. So that imagination, that vision, that mind space, which is so difficult to grab in today's world for a family person, that is commendable, and I congratulate you for that. Her first adult novel, Child of Paradise, is described as a paranormal crime thriller. It's hard enough writing about the normal, and here she is writing about the paranormal. And a thriller, who doesn't love a whodunit? Everyone loves a whodunit. But when you talk about the paranormal, the writer who immediately comes to mind is Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, a master of this genre, a writer who I have taught. I don't know, I don't know if I taught you. Yeah. American writer of the 19th century, a romantic writer of the 19th century, and he, my view, was no ordinary writer, a writer with exceptional caliber. So to choose to write about the paranormal, which is such a challenge, is again something I take my hats off for. Extremely, extremely commendable. And I can see the meticulous research that she has put into this first novel, Child of Paradise, because it needed not just imagination, it needed research as well. The novel we have here, Butterflies in the Storm, has an intriguing title, because the butterfly in itself is a loaded metaphor for all beautiful, transient, and fragile. And yet there is something more in the butterfly effect. Small gestures which set in motion larger events. And this novel, Butterfly in the Storm, has its own butterfly narrating her own story, narrating her story through adversity. It is a coming-of-age novel, and that is a genre also which is very common to us, very commonly read. I'm sure we've all read a coming-of-age novel. A coming-of-age novel, now we get a little literary here, otherwise known as a Bildungsroman. Yeah. The only English page of face I see is anyone there? Yeah. Bildungsroman, it's a German word for a coming-of-age novel, or the novel of education, the novel of growth. Bildungs means growth, and Roman means novel. So this coming-of-age novel that she is writing, Butterflies in the Storm, has great predecessors before her. You might have heard of Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man, Great Expectations, then Khalid Husseini's Kite Runner, then what else? So many. Atonement, Ian McCohen's Atonement, and the novel that I am reading right now, The Purple Hibiscus by Chimananda Adichie, a Nigerian writer. So she is in august company to start with. But the thing is that the butterfly in the stone thing, the image of the butterfly with its fragility, with its beauty, with its color, the fact that it weathers the storm is one of the biggest metaphors of the coming of age novel. And even Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and all of those novels. And here, what happens in a coming of age novel is that you start out, a young person starts out on a journey against all adversity. And it is a learning experience for him, it is a loss of innocence experience for him, it's a growing up experience for him, it is about evolution, it is about change, it is about growth. But the prime motive about the coming of age novel, or the German Bildungsroman title, Bildungsroman, German, yeah. So here is adversity. Adversity, and you have these, it stretches over so many continents, so many cultures, so many races. Adversity in various forms. In To Kill a Mockingbird, you have the question of race. In Portrait of an Artist as a young man, you have religion, you have church, you have family. These are all aspects which throttle the young person, which restrict the young person, and it is against all these odds that the young protagonist of the Bildungsroman or the coming of age novel has to battle. He or she has to battle against all odds to surmount them. It might be race, it might be gender, it might be family, it might be religion, it might be faith. But the prime motive of the coming of age novel is adversity. And sexuality too, that the sexual awareness, all a part of growing up, and the challenges of living. So, we have a wide canvas of the coming of age novel. And this is what I actually wanted to focus on here. When these writers, whether it was Mark Twain, whether it was Dickens or Adichie, when they started out their writing, they had no idea that they were going to write a coming of age novel. They had no idea that they were going to write a Bildungsroman. These boxes, these titles, have been put on later on. They were narrating a story. They were narrating an individual's life. And the boxes came later on. That is a coming of age novel. This is romantic fiction. That is something that critics, literary theorists and all of those people, they put on. There was no awareness that here let me sit down and write a coming of age novel. That was nowhere in the picture. It was just a narrative which flowed. Adversity was the motivating force. So here in this novel, we have Rita, the protagonist. She also tells her story through adversity. When you look at the first page of the novel, will I wait for you to finish up? There is a sense of immediacy and urgency when you open the first page of the novel. A sense of the contemporary, of the here and the now. And where else can you find the here and the constantly watching Netflix? Like, evening comes and Netflix is on. And reading takes a backseat. And even when he's reading the iPad. He tells me he's reading the Economic Times and the iPad. But, he's reading the iPad, whatever. So, the overwhelming pressure of entertainment through tech, we do not want to lose the pleasure of reading. Whether it is the Kindle, whether it is e-books, or whether it is the pleasure, the perfect pleasure of turning a leisurely page in a book. That is the pleasure which is being lost to us so much. The perfect pleasure of turning a leisurely page. You found the butterfly spirit animal in you. She's got a coffee. Yes. You found the butterfly spirit animal in you. So change the hues of your life, spread your wings, dream your dreams, and let your spirit soar. So go read this novel, Butterflies, because personally speaking, I loved the twist, which sets it apart from conventional romantic fiction. The epilogue is the thing. Perhaps we have a sequel coming, and a real or imagined butterfly setting things in motion. So keep at it, all of you young people there. There will be, I'm sure, the reader as long as there is the writer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Sharma, for your beautiful, receptive, and encouraging words. May I also now request the Honourable guest, Mrs. Vidya Sarma, to address the gathering.
Friends, my dear Pratibha and Kalyan, ladies and gentlemen. Wish you all a very good evening. We all are gathered here to celebrate the launching of our 7th. Let me tell you very frankly at the outset that I am a very bad public speaker. The dais, the mic, the gathering of learned people make me nervous, and you can see it on my face. For fear of forgetting what I want to say about Pratibha, I will be referring to my papers. I hope that is okay with you and you excuse me for that. Pratibha is like a daughter to me, and parents always take pride in their children's success. I'm really very happy and proud about her. Way back in the 90s, Pratibha first came to me as a young, enthusiastic college student to learn German. She had caught my attention because of her quest for knowledge and keenness in learning something new. She was very different from the others in the room. Pratibha was always very sincere, polite, and full of respect for the teachers. Though the stint was a very short one, we became permanently connected to each other. She was the only one to remain in touch with me later on. And those were the days when mobile phones were not very much there. We used to meet occasionally. After her PG in economics from the Guwahati University, ambitious Pratibha headed to Bangalore to enter into the bigger competitive world and change her track. She entered the IT field, did some courses, gathered experience, and worked in prestigious organizations like Linguistics. She met her life partner there, and they tied the mutual knot. They worked there in Bangalore for some time. Then, listening to the call of the motherland, they shifted to Guwahati. Kalyan and Pratibha have proved themselves to be a made for each other couple, working together very hard for their own company and taking it to new heights. As I can see today, Kalyan is a wonderful husband, very supporting, and he has given ample space to his better half to have her own identity. I am amazed to see Pratibha's skillful time management, enthusiasm, and efficiency. She has proved herself to be a caring daughter, a dutiful daughter-in-law, a loving and cautious mother of two, an efficient homemaker, entrepreneur, and a very down-to-earth human being. I have seen her journey through all these stages. Right from a tender age, she used to write poems. It continued till her university days, after which she had to do a lot of technical writing when she started her career in the IT field. And it was the need of the hour. But I think she entered the domain of literature after she became a mother. And as you all know, there is a gifted storyteller hidden in every mother. I am sure that Pratibha wanted to teach her children the values she wanted to imbibe in them, the role models that she wanted them to follow, were placed before them in the form of her stories. I've been keeping track of Pratibha's literary ventures through social media. She has already, to her credit, a series of 4 children's stories full of riddles, mystery, adventure, and magic. Fifth in the row was Redemption, a paranormal romantic thriller, after which came Child of Paradise, which was also a paranormal mystery thriller, and the latest one, Butterflies in the Storm, is a novel. The protagonist, Rita, is a young modern student in Bangalore. She is beautiful, talented, and sensitive. But her life is not a bed of roses. She has to face many challenges. Though young, she is quite sure of what she wants to achieve in life. But she has to confront with many unpredictable situations, unexpected oppositions, jealousies, and meanness. She thinks positively and is firm on the decisions, but at the same time, she has her own weaknesses and crushes. Pratibha has developed a story quite skillfully and successfully. The suspense is kept till the end. You get involved in the characters and just want to go on reading. Her language is lucid and her choice of word is apt, and the story unfolds itself gradually. It is going to be very interesting to see how the butterflies get the strength to combat the storm. This is Pratibha's first formal book release, and I am immensely pleased to be a part of it. I am sure this novel is going to be received very well by the young generation, because it is their own story and is going to be a huge going to get a huge acclaim. I wish her every success in all her projects and everything that she does. I am sure that Pratibha has got all the qualities of a good author. I sometimes wonder when she gets the time to write. But when you have a creative mind, you cannot stop yourself from writing. After all, literature is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, and Pratibha has given vent to her powerful feelings through her books. I would like to sum up with the definition of Pratibha, a Sanskrit word from Sanskrit poetry. Pratibha is defined as Navanavonmesha Shalini Prajna, intelligence, brilliance, presence of mind, which gets expression in various fields, and Pratibha has started with a bang to prove it true. With this note of great expectations, I thank Pratibha for giving me the honor of formally launching her book. The book will soon be on the stand. I thank the audience for their patient listening. Thank you all.
to Mrs. Sharma for such inspiring and insightful words. I'd like to now introduce a dear friend, an exceptional human being, and an amazing storyteller, Sattyakee Geetam Bhuyan. Sattyakee Geetam Bhuyan is known for his extensive experience in all the areas of theatre production, a TedX speaker. He is also the founder-director of the leading theatre group, the Passion Collective. He has acted and directed numerous plays and short films. He is also the founder member of the Northeast Writers Forum. He has also acted in many TV productions and Assamese feature films, and was also a reporter with the Telegraph and Northeast 5, which is a news-based program on the Northeast aired on CNN and DD International. With a master's in linguistics, he went on to serve at the Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, as an assistant scientist, languages, in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. He is currently the Dean at the Royal Global School and Adjunct Faculty at the Royal Global University, as a guest lecturer and also a guest lecturer in the field of communications at the
Thank you, Sagorika, for that. What kind of introduction that was. Thank you. But I'm very honored this evening, ladies and gentlemen, to be a part of the happiness of Pratibha's, and also very, very deeply honored and feeling very good to see our most loved and most graceful professor in Cotton College, Geetam ma'am. It was almost like sitting in her class today, and she was deliberating your point of view on Pratibha's book. Madam, what a delight it is this evening to see you in person, and my regards to Madam Sharma for being here this evening with very known faces, my friend in Kalyan, and the other friends that I see traveling in this evening. I must tell you what a delight it is to see Pratibha, growing as an author. I have seen her from my heydays. She's a very close associate with my sister in Chandari, Mona. And that's how we almost grew up together literally in Meghalaya. Whenever in the weekends we would gather. And I always thought that was a little very bright thing in her eyes, the gleam that she had. And I'm very fond of her writing as well. And when Kalyan called me the other day, informing that his book is getting launched, I must tell you both that I was very, very excited to be a part of this happiness where I am today, to only read a couple of paragraphs from Pratibha's book, Butterflies in the Storm, which Madam has so sweetly explained to all of you. I normally get very jittered with paper in my hand, but today I will just, Pratibha, if I'm not mistaken, this is page 129 of the book. And my Pratibha's congratulations to you. I'm sure all of you read this book with leisure. And in today's world, where 50 grams of confidence is in your pocket, people have almost forgotten what books are, but I'm so glad. Like Madam said, readers will definitely be there as long as they are writers. On that good note, there was a knock on the door. Yes. Tasha peeked in through the door. Tasha, ma'am, can I have a word? Yes, come in, Natasha. Rita ma'am turned to the other professors at the table. This is Natasha Pathari's second year MBA student. All the professors looked at each other curiously. Actually, ma'am, I ran there as soon as I got to hear the whole thing. I don't know what exactly happened, but I do remember that day very clearly. You do? asked Rita ma'am. She looked eager to find out more about this perplexing situation. Come take a seat here and tell us. Yes, ma'am. The finance team was pretty excited that they had managed to collect so much money for the fest. Neil and I reached their table just as they finished with the cash counting. And we all cheered at the result. Tasha looked at all of them for their reaction. I had planned to put up a small snack stall for the fest with Shreya. So after the cheering was over, I and Shreya had a quick chat in a private corner of the auditorium and then decided to go shopping. But Shreya said she needed to help Rhea with the last minute work. So I waited for her in the auditorium patiently while giving them privacy to solve their team's work. There was pin-drop silence as all the members looked like they were at the edge of their seats to hear what Tasha was going to say. I waited all the while near the guys behind them, just say 3 feet away from while Shreya completed the work. The auditorium too got empty as most left. So they were in my direct vision. Nowhere did I see Rhea lending any money to Shreya. Financial talk happening. I'm liking the progress as I read for you all. She is lying, cried Rhea in a flabbergasted tone. I don't remember her staying back. No, she isn't, said Shreya. Shreya, equal, firmly. Wait, Rhea. Shreya, calm down. Let us decide, said Rita firmly. What proof do you have that you were with them that day? Asked Rita man, her face doubtful. Ask the other members. Okay, call them. Tasha, call the others inside the room. Akash, was Natasha with you? Was Natasha with you guys the day you all were counting the cash? Asked Nita man. Akash rubbed his fingers on his forehead. And I can't remember, man. There were so many people that day in the auditorium. Hard to recollect. Same here, man, said Anjali. Rahul, you? Gosh, it was 5 days back. Let me think. There was so much commotion that day. Read reasons left. Maybe or may not be. Come on, you guys, said Tasha in disbelief. We even took selfies that day. Now, can you show us the picture you took that day? Asked Rhea man in a sharp voice. Tasha took out her mobile and showed each of them their selfies with the time stamp of that day. Okay, students, looks like Natasha was with you guys the other day and she says that she hadn't seen Rhea give the money to Shreya that day. But what does that prove, man? Said Anjali. Rhea would have given later for. But that's what Rhea is saying, isn't it? That she had handed over the money at the auditorium which I had disapproved now. Said Tasha, coolly raising her brow. Everyone was speechless as Tasha confronted Rhea with a challenge in her eyes. Okay, so Natasha says Rhea hadn't handed the money to Shreya while they were at the auditorium, which goes against what Rhea says. Shreya denies getting the money at all, said Rita man as she looked at the other committee members slowly. How do we believe that you are telling us the truth and not siding out with Shreya? Asked Rita man point blank. Ma'am, 2 of us have denied it, and what more proof can we give? Shreya and I are hardly friends. She is in her first year, while I am a senior. We just got together as we were asked to partner with the juniors to take care of the food stalls. I have no motive to side with her except to stand for the truth. But we can't help it if you have more trust and affection towards Rhea than us. Everyone, including the committee members, were taken aback at the way Tasha charged Richa man. And if Richa man looked embarrassed, she quickly hid it with a disapproving remark. Mind your manners, Natasha. and just answer what you asked. Being the niece of one of the notable members of the university's governing body, Rita had often noticed how Dasha had an air of entitlement about her. At times, she could be too big for her shoes. Okay, students, we need to discuss this further, and tomorrow we will have to notify the university committee. But we want to sit on this for a while. We'll give you our decision tomorrow. Rita ma'am concluded. Well, wasn't that very sweet and crafty? Thank you very much for giving me a patient here. I once again feel very nice and very privileged to be a part of this August gathering, especially after seeing ma'am after ages. It still is a delight, just as her hairstyle and dress exactly is the same. It was almost like sitting in cotton colors. Thank you and good night. And congratulations. Thank you for that introduction. You didn't do that. You come with this smile.
Thank you so much, Geetam, for bringing life in the vocal form to these words in black and white. Maybe someday we can think of dramatizing this book on stage. That's food for thought. I now request Pratibha to share her own perspectives on her current magnum opus.
Thank you, Sago. Sagorika, I call her Sago. She's a good friend of mine. So,
And Josie.
we don't need to reread that. So, Butterflies in the Storm is my 7th fiction book. I started my writing journey in 2010 when I first wrote my first middle grade novel, Magical Ventures of Lottie and Lenny, and published it in 2012. I won't say started, I would say I resumed. Writing is a bug that got me very young. As a child, I used to love reading, and I remember as early as 5 years old, as soon as I used to go to a shop, I used to fly to the book rack and get my dad buy any book on illustrations. It may be fairies, leprechauns, and pixies. So that was the time I used to keep reading a lot, and by the time I was in the 4th standard, I came across this book called The Diary of Anne Frank. So from that I got inspiration to start my own diary. So Diary of Anne Frank was an inspiration for many girls to start to have their own diaries. So with that I started, it was just scribbling about daily life, anecdotes, just rough scribbling and all. So it went on, and by around 11 class, by around the time I was 11 or 12, I started with my first poem. So after that I started indulging in poetry right to university days. And I used to love writing poetry.
গুৱাহাটীৰ আৰ্টিষ্ট গিল্ডত গ্ৰন্থ উন্মোচনী সভা বাটাৰফ্লাইজ ইন দ্য ষ্টৰ্ম নামৰ উপন্যাস উন্মোচন কৰা হয়। প্ৰতিভা দাস হাতীবৰুৱাই লিখি উলিয়াইছে এই উপন্যাসখন। অনুষ্ঠানত কটন বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ৰ প্ৰাক্তন অধ্যাপিকা ডক্টৰ গীতম শৰ্মাৰ অংশগ্ৰহণ। লেখিকা বিদ্যা শৰ্মা সহ বহু বিশিষ্ট ব্যক্তি উপস্থিত থাকে। নিজৰ 7ম উপন্যাসখনক লৈ যথেষ্ট আশাবাদী প্ৰতিভা দাস হাতীবৰুৱা।
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, 1 second please.
Each novel, তাৰমানে কেৰেক্টাৰটো গ্ৰ' কৰে। তেওঁৰ ছোৱালী এজনী 18 ইয়াৰ্ছৰ, তেওঁৰ যিবোৰ অসুবিধা পায় তেওঁৰ জীৱনত, তেওঁৰ মাক দেউতাক নাই, তেওঁৰ ৰিলেটিভছৰ লগত ডাঙৰ হয়, সেইকাৰণে বহুতো ভাল ট্ৰিটমেণ্ট নাপায়, বহুত ফাইনেন্সিয়েল প্ৰব্লেমছ হয়, ফাইনেন্সিয়েল প্ৰব্লেমছ আৰু জেলেচি, হিংসা, এইবিলাক কাজিন চাজিন পায়। তাৰে মাজত তাই মানে বহুত কষ্ট কৰি পঢ়া শুনা কৰি তাই টপ ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিত স্কলাৰশ্বিপ পায়, তাই পঢ়ে। চ' সেই তাইৰ লাইফৰ ষ্ট্ৰাগলছবোৰ কেনেকৈ তাই মানে ইমানখিনি কষ্টৰ মাজত তাই এজন মানে মানুহ হ'ব পাৰে তাৰ ওপৰত কিতাপ ভাল পাব বুলি ভাবিছোঁ বিকজ এখন ষ্টৰী বহুতে ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰিব যিবোৰ প্ৰব্লেমছ যি প্ৰটেগনিষ্টজনে ফেচ কৰে সেইটো বহুতৰ প্ৰব্লেমছ ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰিব চ' ভালেই আশা কৰিছোঁ
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, 1 second please.
Pause.
এইজ নভেল তাৰমানে কেৰেক্টাৰটো গ্ৰ' কৰে তেওঁৰ ছোৱালী এজনী 18 ইয়াৰ্ছৰ তেওঁৰ যিবোৰ অসুবিধা পায় তেওঁৰ জীৱনত তেওঁৰ মাক দেউতাক নাই তেওঁৰ ৰিলেটিভছৰ লগত ডাঙৰ হয় সেইকাৰণে বহুতো ভাল ট্ৰিটমেণ্ট নাপায় বহুত ফাইনেন্সিয়েল প্ৰব্লেমছ হয় ফাইনেন্সিয়েল প্ৰব্লেমছ আৰু জেলেচি হিংসা এইবিলাক কাজিনছ পায় তাৰে মাজত তাই মানে বহুত কষ্ট কৰি পঢ়া শুনা কৰি তাই টপ ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিত স্কলাৰশ্বিপ পাই তাই পঢ়ে চ' সেই তাইৰ লাইফৰ ষ্ট্ৰাগলছবোৰ কেনেকৈ তাই মানে ইমানখিনি কষ্টৰ মাজত তাই এজন মানে মানুহ হ'ব পাৰে তাৰ ওপৰত কিতাপ ভাল পাব বুলি ভাবিছোঁ বিকজ এখন ষ্টৰী বহুতে ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰিব যিবোৰ প্ৰব্লেমছ যি প্ৰটেগনিষ্টজনে ফেচ কৰে সেইটো বহুতৰ প্ৰব্লেমছ ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰিব চ' ভালেই আশা কৰিছোঁ